Well, now we're alive. Okay. And so we're learning Joshua chapter second chapter. What we said yesterday, what we said the last time, was that the nuance of the Malbim that we're learning is that chapter 2 is really before chapter 1. He's sending the spies before he knows that God's going to say, let's go. It's 30 days afterwards, after Moses died. Actually, a little before that, 27 days really. And he sends out the spies, around 27 days after that. He knows he has to go, so he sends out spies. The question is, why is he sending out spies to begin with? When the last time we sent spies out, 38 years ago, 12 of them went out. 2, namely he and Caleb, came back with good reports. The other 10 came back with bad reports. And as a result of that, they were stranded in the desert for 38 years as a punishment. So why, if God's telling you to go, why are you sending out another spy party? Okay, that's the question that you have to ask as a logical person. So here we go. Let's just go through the verses and see what happens. And we won't go through the whole chapter this time because it's just too far to get to. But I want to cover some major points. It says, Vayishlach Yehoshua, chapter 2, verse 1. Vayishlach Yehoshua bin Nun. Mina Shittim. So Joshua, the son of Nun, sent from Shittim, the place called Shittim, Shnayim Anashim, 2 men, Meraglim, who are spies, Cheresh. Cheresh is an interesting word. We'll translate it as secretly, quietly, whatever you want to call that as. Lamor saying, he said to them, L'chu ru'u et ha'aretz, go and see the land, V'yet Yericho, and Jericho. V'yelchu, and they went, V'yavo'u, and they came, Beit Isha, to the house of a woman who was a zonah. Classical definition of zonah would be a prostitute, without any variation of the word. Ushma Rachav, and her name was Rachav. V'yishkavu shama, and they lay down there. They stayed there. Okay. So the question that should be on everybody's mind is, well, actually, since there's 2 things. Why only 2 spies this time? Again, the first time there were 12 spies. So why only 2 spies this time? That's one. The other question is, why send spies at all, like we said before? And then it says, go and see the land and Jericho. Where's Jericho? And Jericho isn't in the land? Why are you emphasizing Jericho? That's another question that should be asked just on that verse. You already have 3 questions easily to ask on this verse. The word cheresh doesn't belong there. Quietly, like I said, secretly, quietly. It doesn't belong. Why? Because I already said he sent 2 spies to the land. So what do you have to say secretly? Obviously, the spies is a secretive mission. Even the 12 spies that went there were also by secret. Though nobody was saying, "I'm a spy and I'm coming in to check out the land."
Is it talking about secret to Israel or secret to the land, or secret to the folk?
Secret to the folk going in. He sent also to Israel, by the way. He didn't make a big noise. Okay. You can go both ways, but it's it seems that it's certainly to the land go in secret. But that you already said that was spies. You don't need the word secret here. And by the way, it's also a strange thing to saying cheresh. The cheresh is not the word really. It's beraz, secretly like that. Also charash, it would mean to dig around. So it's also charash. It would be quiet. A deaf person is a charash. So it's very, very secret. That's what's trying to get across. Okay, so when they came, who they go to? They went to a zona. Now, a zona, according to Rashi, is not a prostitute. A zona, according to Rashi, is an innkeeper. And why is she called a zona? Because she sells types of food. Like I said last week, zan is how you say nourishment. A zan is who nourishes the world. So zan doesn't necessarily have to be in zona. Doesn't have to mean the classical definition of prostitute. It could mean that she was just selling different types of food, but because she was giving everybody sustenance and because she's putting everybody up, she's called the zona, the innkeeper. Okay, so however you want to look at that word.
To the word mizonos also?
Mizono. Yeah, also the same thing. It's all the same. Zonah does mean turn away. Okay, it can also mean turn away. There's no question about that. It can have a dual meaning, and that's why in some English they'll say prostitute. Other English translations will say innkeepers. I don't know what everybody says here. What does it say?
Innkeeper.
Innkeeper. Okay.
Are there other words that would be more specific and less ambiguous for prostitute or innkeeper?
No, Zona pretty much says what it is. Like I said, in the normal translation would be prostitute. There's no question about that.
One.
It could be either one. Yeah. And there was one commentary that I saw a long time ago that actually just said it's because she gives, the reason she's called the Zona is because, and that's Rashi also, based upon Rashi, she's giving him a Zonot. So it's a play on words at that point. But it's, like I said, you have that situation. So the question is why they go to her house specifically. And they say that. Then what happens? Very next verse. Ve'amar lemelech Yericho lemor. And it was told to the king of Jericho, saying, Hinei anashim ba'u. Behold, men have come. Hina Laila, this night, mibnei Yisrael, from the children of Israel. Apparently the secret didn't last too long. Right? Ba'u lachpor et ha'aretz, to dig, literally to dig after the land, to dig the land. What it means to spy the land out, to investigate the land. But the word lachpor means to dig. Okay, and again, if you want to go, if you have to understand, what does it mean to dig the land? What does that mean, dig the land? Again, I'm giving you
to take from the land.
To plant things.
It could be, but why these? But they're saying, think of who's saying it. The people are saying to the king, these people have come from Bnei Israel to dig the land. It doesn't make sense to dig the land, which is why everybody translates it as to spy out the land. But the question is, why did the author choose the word dig, as he could have said l'ragel, l'tor, to look at the land, to examine the land? Why do you use that word lachfor? Okay.
They want to eventually settle it and dig, plant.
No. No. It won't be that. Because, like I said, the people who are saying it are the enemy. The enemy camp is saying it. If we would say it, and we would be going to last part of ours, it could be what you want to say. But it's the enemy talking about the invaders.
Right.
Or the inhabitants talking about the invaders. So they're not going to say they came in to see whether they can plant. That wouldn't make sense. That wouldn't make sense.
Those people do that's what it means.
No, I will. No, like I said, they're saying it as to spy the land out. That's clearly what they're saying. But the question is, when they're using the word, why did they use the word lachfor to dig out the land? Well, what exactly is the context of that? So I will say, I'll come back to it. I just want to give some basic understanding of the story first, and then we'll come back to what's going on. Okay? So verse 3 right now. Vayishlach melech Yericho, and the king of Jericho sent El Rachav lemor. He sent apparently a messenger or message to Rachav saying, remember she's the innkeeper, Hotzii ha'anashim habam elayich. Bring out these men that came to you. Asher ba'u lebeitech. They came to your house. Well,
Question.
yeah.
Why did he ask her to do it? Why didn't you just send some soldiers over and get them?
Good question. Good question. Maybe she has something on him. I don't know. Okay. But it's the other question you should be asking is the men that came to you, that came to your house. Well, isn't that obvious? If they came to you, if they came to your house, they came to you, or they came to you, they came to your house. You don't need both. Okay? And while they come, ki lachpor et kol haaretz ba'u, to explore, to spy out the whole land, they came. What does she do? Vatikach, remember, this is the context of what we're reading. She gets the message, Vatikach ha'isha et shnei ha'anashim, And the woman took the two men, v'titzpeno, and she hid him.
Him?
Him.
Mine says them.
It's not them. V'titzpeno, the O at the end means him, not them. And I'll prove that to you in two more psukim, two more verses.
Yeah, that was interesting in the commentary. Even though it says him in Hebrew, it's always translated them.
Correct. But as I said, in order for you to understand everybody's problem, you have to understand what the Hebrew means. Okay? So again, she hid him, vatomer Cain, and she says to she says, Cain, ba'u elai ha'anashim. Yes, the men came to me. V'lo yadati me'ayin hema. And I don't know from where they are, from where they were. I didn't know where they were coming from. Vahi ashar, by the way, a couple of questions you ask it. Look at how the verse is said. She took the two men and hid him. And she says, yes, they came to me. Is that a little out of order? What's going on? What is happening here? Did she put up her finger and say, oh, wait a second, let me clear my house out. Guys, get into the place, and I'll go, and then who am I speaking to? Really, it's totally out of order here. She's hiding them, running back. I don't know. They didn't say where they were from.
Also, why didn't she say, which two men?
Which two men? It's even better. What are you talking about? I don't know anybody here. Okay. She doesn't do that. And the verse is very much out of whack here. And then she says, Vayhi, and she's continuing, Vayhi hasha'ar l'sgor b'choshech. And the gate is closing at night. V'hanashim yitzau. And the man went out. Lo yadati, I don't know, ana halchu ha'anashim, where the men went. Ridfu mahir achareim, run quickly after them. Kitasigum. So, in order, or because actually, literally, because you will reach them. Again, the ending of mem means them. And now I want to compare it again, the verses. Verse 6. Vehi he'elatam hagaga. She brought them up to the roof. Who's bringing them up? The man, the spies. Vatitmaneim b'pishtei ha'etz. And she hid them. Now it's them. Vatitmaneim. With the mem ending, it's them. B'pishtei ha'etz, in the trees of flax. Ha'aruchot la'al hagag, that were set up for her on the roof. Okay? Right now, just go back and answer some of the questions we asked. Okay? So that's important. The story will otherwise get too convoluted. The first question we had was, well, not the first, but the word cheresh. That's an important word. What is cheresh? Because it all runs together. You'll see what's going on. Rashi explains that cheresh is amounts being in secret. He also says cheresh can be, because of the shin, can turn into a samach, because it can have cheres, pottery. In other words, the shin and the sin can be a shin and a samach. Can be interchanged.
Really?
Could be. Yeah, because it sounds the same. The shin could be a sin. Remember, it's only a dot on one side or the other.
So don't you have to play with Torah to do that?
You don't have to play. You don't have to play. It's really simple to do. It's really simple to do. Because the word can sound alike. So once the word sounds alike, it can be a play on words. And on top of that, the vowels in cheresh, should normally be charash. So you have to ask, why the double segel? Why is it cheresh as compared to charash? Which charash would have got it much easier. The cheresh really shouts out to the reader that something's changed here. So Rashi says, from the Midrash, that if you take the shin and you make it into a samach, because the shin, like I said, the shin really can be a sin. In Hebrew, you don't know, and if you're looking at the text, there's not the dots there. So
there's no vowels.
There's no vowels. So I can read it either way. So I could read cheres, and therefore it could mean cheres, which means pottery. What does it mean? Why are they telling that? Because he's telling him, inu atzmechem kedero, carry for yourselves pottery. So everybody will think that you're selling pottery. That's how you're going to go in. That's the secret. I'm going to give you a disguise. What I'm going to do is going to send you in as a potter. Potter? It's called potter?
Yeah.
Potter? Okay.
Maker of pots.
Right, maker of pots. So I'm going to do that, and that's how you're going to go in, and you're going to check out the situation. That's an important word. That's a very important word. Okay? Because last week, Mike, you asked, well, it wasn't a very good secret. They figured it out really quickly. Okay? And we were talking, so we theorized maybe they walked in with different clothes, whatever the case is going to be. And here, no. What happened was they came in with a good disguise. They came in as potters. The question is what they did after that. What do you normally do if you're trying to sell pots or encyclopedias or life insurance? Do you go to one house?
Knock on doors.
Knock on doors. You knock on doors. You figure out what's going on. Okay.
Go to the town square.
Town square. Go to the marketplace. You don't go to the Mazonas maker.
Maybe it was nighttime. What are they supposed to do?
But that's the first place apparently went. Apparently they're going right to her house. That's what it seems to be. Because it says they went, what does it say? They went and they came to the house of the Zona. So what are you doing there? Okay? So that's one of the things. So like I said, first you have to understand that this is before God gives them the message. Then what happens is, now let's look at it. It says, his orders are, Joshua's orders, like I said, go secretly, go and with this disguise, if I follow Rashi, and so the Malbim says, he told them, go and see the land and Jericho. Again, the question is, why in Jericho? It should just say, go and see the land. So he says, Ika Shlichot, the main part of the sending out was Haya al Yericho, was for the place called Jericho. And and the land that surrounded it. Why? Because you come there and can see how to take it over. In other words, I'm going to the land that's a border town. So go there, figure it out, and on top of that, because it was a border town, it had a wall around it, and it was hard to conquer. So let's go inside there. The gates will open. Go inside, check it out, see how do you destroy that town, and then we can go on from there.
That's a prime
location.
So could the word for spies and pottery, could it have a dual meaning if they were disguised as potters?
Well, that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Meragel, by the way, is the word for spies is meragel. Cheresh is secretly. So the question is, how did they send him on secretly? So Rashi and the commentators want to say, because of that word cheresh, it meant that he set him up as potters. Okay. I can take it as it literally means, though. I can take it means secretly. And then it's up to you to figure out what the secret was. So Rashi is telling us, and again, Rashi is being down the top. So the commentaries are telling us that the disguise was as a potter, and that's only because of the extra word cheresh. You didn't need the word cheresh to begin with. You didn't need it. You could have got away without it. We all know that spies go secretly. What are you telling me that you went secretly for? But that extra word is giving us indication that something new is being told. The nuance.
Would that be considered a remez?
Yep. Yep. It is certainly not pshat.
Right.
Pshat, it would be he went secretly. It's not. The remez is he went as a potter.
Which could secretly, if you take it face value, could it mean that he didn't tell the rest of Bnei Yisrael, it sent them secretly from everybody?
Well, it could have been. It could have been secretly from everybody. In other words, I don't want to make a big noise, because the last time they made a big noise, so we were stuck in the desert for 38 years. So he could have been that he doesn't want anybody to know. He wants to know himself. By the way, it would even be better if he didn't tell everybody, because they would say, wait a second, the people would start rebelling. We did this 38 years ago and we're still here. We don't want to do that anymore. So let's rely upon God. So in order for him just to know where to go, he's not asking, is it a good land to conquer? like Moses did. He's not asking that. He just wants to know what's the best way to get into the land. That's all he wants to know. So he's saying, go and check it out. Go to the border town. Go to the land and board. He's not saying go around the whole land. Unlike, again, Moses said go around the whole land. Tell us what's there. Bring back fruit. No, he's not saying that. Go, figure out the best port of entry, and we can then take over. And Jericho is the place to start. Because of it such...
Well, it was talking about 2 verses 12 the last time.
Right.
So maybe... Why do you need 12 this time? Because you
don't need 12. You only have 2.
You start. You're just going to do this one little area,
Correct.
not spying the entire land.
Correct.
Which is 2. Mm-hmm.
And also, when you had 12, the reason that you had 12 is, and that was from Hashem, he said send from one from each tribe in order. God doesn't say in order that. He's telling us in order that to try to fend off the evil impulse to say we want to stay here and the land is no good. But if they are going to say the land is no good, so everybody has to be part of that and everybody has to be punished equally. Like I said, only 2 tribes, 2 spies said that is good, namely Joshua and Caleb. Joshua couldn't have said anything. Joshua is Moses' right hand. So what's he going to say? Moses is wrong and the land is no good. Everybody knew that Joshua was going to say the land. It could have been the West Coast. It could have been the worst area in the world, and Joshua would have said, "If Moshe said it's good, it's good. You don't argue on Moshe." So nobody really was looking to see what Joshua was going to say. But when Caleb came back, Caleb wasn't the right hand man of Moshe. And when Caleb came back and said it's good, so that put a little bit of a what do you call it? That put a wrench into the works. That's when the other spies had to say, no, it's not good. And they had to, and they couldn't say it openly. They had to go secretly to their people and say, oh, we saw this, we saw the giant, and so forth. And people started to cry for no reason. Again, that was when they were trying to just know if the land was good, because people said, how do we know what the land looks like? But here, nobody's asking that question. They're on the border. They're right on the other side. They're ready to go. They're just mourning the death of Moses, and that's it. So now Joshua just wants to get in there. He just doesn't know how. He doesn't need 12 spies for that. Truth is, he didn't need the 2 spies. He could have gone in those. But like we said 3 weeks ago, the reason that he had to send a spy is because we're not allowed to rely upon a miracle. And if I'm going to go into a foreign country where I'm going to beat everybody, let's take it over, I better have an attack plan, because I can't rely upon God. True, God will be the ultimate one who gives me victory, but at the same time, just as Noah didn't wait until the day before the flood to put up a little rowboat to say, here I am, save me, God. He had to do it for 120 years. So also we have to do we have to do our endeavors to save ourselves. So he sent the spies, again, just to find out where to enter, not for any other reason. Okay? But we're going to go through this. So so he says, these 2 men, he says, he had 3 reasons. 1, because from the side they came to the city that was closed. And you couldn't enter and you couldn't believe. That's why it says these 2 men came. So it was known that since they only came to Jericho itself, that they were spies. Because if they were really door-to-door salesmen, they would go over in makom lemakom. They would go from place to place, not just one place. Okay. More than that, they would dwell, or they would rest by the gate, so they could get up immediately in the morning, the dark and go on their way. By the way, but for the against the Malbim or for the Malbim, whichever the case is, why did they go to this woman's house? It's part of their disguise. She's by the wall. As we go on, she's going to let them down by a rope that's on the wall. So she's right by the wall. So it makes sense that you would go to her house. That's what it was a good part of their plan. Go to the Amazonas house. Go to the inn. Go to what's it called? Hotel 6. Motel 6. Go to Motel 6. They have the lights on for you. So go. So it says Kishare lo yiftachu be'ed hamatzor ad nachon hayom, because the gates of the city do not open in a time of distress until until the morning. In other words, they're not going to open at night because people can get in and get out. They don't want that. They want people at nighttime. They want to be close, and that's why it says, and they came here. Imashabau balayla is from what since they came at night, and again shelo kederach over derech hanitim simbichitov, and it's not the norm. It's not the normal practice for people who are going across are passing through to enter when it's if it's at night, because it's not good to travel during the night. Why? Because you have a lot of people going to steal stuff from you. So it's not called kitov. In the Torah it says kitov. That it was good. So the rabbis use the words kitov to indicate that it's always the daytime, not at night. At night it's never kitov. So since it's not normal for people to travel at night because of the mirages, especially if you're a potterer, you're trying to sell your wares, you're not trying to get them ripped off. The brought the Eda Skana, except unless it's a dangerous time. Okay. And that's why it was proof that they were from Israel. Because their purpose was lachpor ed haaretz, to spy after the land. The dot, now here's the digging part. You asked Leah, what's the digging for? So the Malbim says, Ladat sitareha. In order to find out what they're digging, they want to know the secrets of the place. That's why they use the word lachpor. If I just want to tour the land, and this, by the way, tour is the same thing as Tor. Tor in Hebrew is a Tor in English. I wanted to tour the land. It's an interesting thing. I don't know. Obviously, Tor English came from Tor Hebrew, because the same exact. If you look it up, Tor, Tav Vav Reish, you'll see Tor, examine. Okay. So here, that's why they came lachpor, to dig after the secrets of the town. It wasn't enough to know where to enter, where to leave, and so on and so forth. They want to know what was the feeling of the town. Ish hebdil ben achofer la'aretz, and there's a difference, he tells us, between being chofer, spying out, digging after the town, and being torn just as a mere touring through. Shechofer hu ba'omek makom, the one who is chofer, the one who digs, goes into the depth of the place, to one place, ladad machshavot anashim v'sitreim, to know, to understand the thoughts of the man and their secrets. Vehem lo yalchu rak lachpor b'makom echad, and they only went to explore one place. Again, if I'm a potter and I want to sell my wares, I'm going to go from place to place to place. Okay, the fact that they were coming in to Rachav's house, even though she's on the inn, even though she's by the gates and everything was cool, should have been cool. They came near night. I mean, they're not going to travel at night, so it's good they're staying in town. Everything's good, but you're asking too many questions. Asking too many questions. That's not good. Okay? You're not doing, and that's what lachpor. He wants them to find out what are the men feeling. Okay, and that's going to, you're going to see in the end, she does tell them what exactly is going on. Okay, so then it says the king comes in, get a messenger from the king, right? He says send out the men. So they came to you. Rach Limor wants to explain. Hagam shiyomu l'cha ki ba'u elecha liznot. He wants to say they also said to you that they came to for provisions, whatever the case, however you want to translate that. But know that their real reason, Rachav, knows you're an innocent woman, Rachav. You're the innkeeper. You're the Zona. Call her what you want. Okay. She is an innocent person here. He's saying, no, that they came to you they're claiming they came to you to reside for the night. But their real purpose is Shevao Lebeitcha Ba'u. They came to your house, Huayan, and why? Kilach for Kola Aretz Ba'u, because they came to search out the whole land. Shirochin Lachpo Bebeitcha to Alumo Kola Aretz, because they came to explore from your house all the secrets, all the hidden secrets of the land. Binyana should say, get in order to know everything. Why? By the way, why her house? If she's really the innkeeper, wouldn't it make sense? And if she's the zona even more, she's going to know everything. All the comings and goings are coming through her. Okay? So if she's if you're Motel 6, or whatever the motels are on these highways, they see a lot of people. And they can the cops call them. Did you see this person? Yes, I did. Okay, fine. And so on and so forth. So they see a lot and they hear a lot because people don't think that innkeepers really listen, like bartenders. The bartender really listens. But the bartender can tell you everything. You think people want to know where? Many times when I'm calling for minions, so they tell me I'm going here, I'm going there. So then people ask me, "Where's this guy?" "Oh, this guy is over there." And this guy. So Rabbi also knows, even though I think we don't listen. We also know. So then it says, so what happens? She took them up and she hid him. Now this is interesting. I want to give you this one. It says, remember, there's two of them. Okay? So it says, Rashi explains that first he says simple. There are times that the psukim, that the verses will speak of multitudes as a singular. Okay, notice you have the people at okay, and we'll give it a him or her, or whatever the case is going to be. In case of will be him. And so it says, Lafisha Mihara Mitam, since she was in a hurry to cover them and it was in a narrow place, so there was this if they were one unit, and that's why it says Titzpano. Okay, so he's bothered by she hid him. She said she hid them. The Midrash Haggadah has a different thing. It says Pinchas and Kalev Hayu. They were the spies. Pinchas and Kalev. And Pinchas, who is Pinchas, by the way? Pinchas is the one who saved the Jewish people by throwing the spear through Cosby, Batzor, and Zimri ben Saloi, who were the ones who were copulating in forbidden relations, and so he throws the spear, it stops the plague. He's a big hero, given the high priesthood. He's the grandson of Aaron. Aaron HaKohen, he's the grandson. Right. And he's also given the Brit of Shalom from God. And he and his children will be Kohanim along with Aaron and his children. Okay. And there's a whole reason as to why it had to happen that way, but let's not get stuck there. Okay. But Pinchas was that was that person. And Kalev was, again, the spy that went with Joshua. So they're of the same age. They're not young kids at this point. So they went out. So what happens? So Pinchas amad lifneihem v'lo ra'uhu. Pinchas stood before them, but they didn't see him. You ready? Lefi shahaya kamala, because he was like an angel. He could make himself invisible. Okay. Interesting thing. You have the Wiccans. When I was younger, I used to know some Wiccans. Okay, and so the Wiccan told me, the witch, she was a witch. She's sitting in the restaurant with me. I was working and she was eating, so I sat down and said hi because I knew who she was. And she said, you know what? I can disappear. And I sit there. I said, like I'm sitting with you. I said, go ahead. She said, well, I can't disappear if you see me. You know I'm here. So what does that mean? Either you can or you cannot disappear. She said, I can make myself part of the room. If you don't know I'm here, you won't notice me. Okay? It's an interesting concept. We say it all the time that I didn't see you, but yet you're in the room. Okay? If you can blend into the scenery, and that's apparently one way to look at this, he could blend into the scenery.
He was a ninja.
What?
He was a ninja.
I don't know. Ninja, I don't know. But he could blend in, or some people using Kabbalah, using Western, what's it called? Eastern, the meditation from the
Like the Indian.
The Chinese, the Shaolin priests and all these guys who are really into meditation. They say that you can put something around you and make yourself invisible. Now, I don't know. I've never seen anybody do it.
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Harry Potter, yeah, you had the cloak. We all have the cloaks. But this was you're putting on like a cloud around you, and you're stopping the light from refract. It's a whole mishigas. But there's a concept out there that one can make oneself invisible. But they're saying so. That's one way to understand this. The other thing is to say he was like an angel, literally like an angel, and he made himself disappear. That's purely drush. It's not pshat. Pshat is like Rashi wants to say they're in the same place, very narrow, and it was like one. It was like one. Period. Okay. But I always got a kick. I always enjoyed seeing that because I've asked people, so what does it mean? It's from the Gemara. How do you explain that he was made invisible? So only if you go to this concept of Kabbalah, where I can somehow put something around me that makes me invisible, or Eastern philosophy is the same thing. Okay, so it's the concept. It's a very interesting concept. If you want to read more about it, you just have to Google it. And I forget who David Richards, I think, something like that. He wrote the book for Eastern philosophy on that. I forget his real name. But it was how to make oneself invisible. It's very cute. But it's using all meditative stances. He also claims you can travel through time, everything else. I've never done it. Don't know about it. Good luck to you.
If it is possible for such a thing, you wouldn't see it very often. I mean, I
right.
do this with,
Right. Yeah, if you do, well, you wouldn't know if you don't see it. There's an invisible. So it says, then it says, another way to understand it is, she hid him, each one by themselves. In other words, if you hide them, it could mean that she hid each one, that hid both of them in the same place. But if I hide you here and I hide him there, so that again could be no. That's another explanation, simple explanation for she hid him, each in a different place. Okay. So that's a couple of different ways to look at that. That's why I say no, and not, as it will say in two more verses, panem, and she hid them. Okay. Okay. So let's go on. Then it says, so the Malbim continues, and he says that he also wants to explain the word v'titzpanot. He says there's a difference between a hiding of safon as a hiding and taman, which is hiding. Two words for hiding. Hatzafon hu ha'omed b'makom she'en ha'ayin ra'ohu. When it says uses the word safon, it means that you're standing in a place that the eye doesn't see him. Mipal safa. Okay. Hagam she'eno mechusa be'ez mechusa. And also, it's not covered. It's not really covered. Be'ez mechasa or afar rachomei b'nusam. It's not covered with anything. It's just you're standing to the side, so I'm not really seeing you. You're hidden from my sight.
The word safon is that in a
north
Torah somewhere?
North.
Where's that from?
North. Safon is north.
Oh.
That's another thing. It could be okay. V'atamon. And when your tamon hidden, that's mechusa mamala because soy ba'afar. Morning. So that is hidden from above with a covering or dirt. In other words, when I bury you, hatmana, I cover you with something, a blanket. That's hatmana. That's hiding you with something. So I could read safon, where I'm hidden from your sight, behind the wall. Or I could be covered with something. You could cover me with a blanket. And I just sit down and nobody's going to see me. Because you're not looking for me. You're looking for me to have a blanket on my head. Okay? Hopefully not. And here where the messenger of the king came quickly, suddenly, she didn't have the time to hide them And to cover them with pishtei eitz, these stalks of flax. Rach the hatpinem, only to hide them. She had time to hide them out of sight, but not to hide them in a proper manner. That's why it has to go back. Okay, first she puts them up. Now she's going to come back to say she hid them. That's why she put them in the corner, so they wouldn't see her immediately. And that's why she couldn't put both of them in the same place. Because if they saw both of them together, they would know that they were both meraglim. They were both the spies. The vado, that's why she had each one in a different corner. Because if they would have seen the one guy, they wouldn't have recognized that that's a person. Because they knew they came in pairs. So if I'm looking for two, I don't look at the one. I don't pay attention to one. It's a very interesting concept, and it's true. The crazy thing is, it's true. If I'm looking for two people, I never look. If I'm looking for a guy in a gray jacket, if he changes that to the green jacket, I'm not going to look for him. Think about all the shows that we see on TV where they change one thing, or they shave their beard. You're looking for me, and if I shave my beard, if you get me on the day I shave my beard, I'm a totally different person. Change my glasses, I'm really a different person.
In effect, he becomes invisible to you.
Right. Right. There you go. So you have that whole concept that if I change just one thing about me, think about Superman. What did he do? He went like this. Oh, I'm Superman. And nobody got it. And you're looking, what are you, crazy? But apparently that's what happens. If I take off one thing, or a woman changes her hair color. She puts on a different color wig. You know who did this? Elizabeth Montgomery, when she was in Bewitched. She would play Samantha, and she would play her cousin, whatever her name was. Okay? When you would see the cousin, you never knew was Elizabeth Montgomery. It was amazing. You would see her. I can't remember her name, but it's so interesting to see just a change of a hairstyle and hair color took her away from being Sam. Now she was cousin, whatever her name was. Okay? And we see that all the time. So if if I separate you and I'm looking for two, and I'll see one, I'm not going to pay attention to you because you're just another guy in the bar, another guy in the inn. Okay. The gam sha'az al kapanim imalei hasheni. Then she also she would save the second. Oh, because then they would also save the second. Ba'asher yir'eh shebaim yachvashu halo matzotam. And when he would see that they came in, they would search and they wouldn't find them. And that's why she said to them, it's true that they were meraglim. And they left, barchu, and they fled. The man yimharu l'sei mibeita. And why should she do that? In order that they would leave the house quickly and search after them. And that's why it says it came Ba'away Lion. She understands how to play the game. She says, you know what? You told me that as long as you don't hold me guilty, you said I didn't know. The purpose was for them to spout the land. You're right. It makes sense. And so they ran because of that. They knew you were coming. They ran out the door and go get him. because she understood. Rad Shalamar Kedebrechem. It's like what you said. Just like you said, these men came. Take a boam. Immediately when they came, they came and they spoke in the way of spies. I didn't know where they were from. Because sometimes men come to me, and they ask me about the matters of the land. It's an excellent mikra. So you could say that this is just it happens. People come to South Bend, Indiana, and they come to our area and they say, "What's it like?" We don't immediately think they want to take over our city. We give them the answers. We don't know if they're going to move in. They will move in. We don't know. So here, even though you have the enemy on the other side, it doesn't mean that they're going to be sending spies and that dressed as potters or however they're going to be dressed, two guys coming in who can be captured. We don't think about that. And on top of that, how many people come through my place and ask me these questions? It's not my immediate thing to assume that they're spies. Okay?
I'm gonna have to leave.
Okay. Oh, I'm about to stop it anyway. So let me just finish this, and then you'll be with us. Okay? Lokan on the Shim Necharim, but so it's not staying with these strange men. Noda umeyayin heimat umalahem the Roshin Aris. So it's not these with these strange men that they didn't know that it wasn't know where they were coming from and what they were looking for when it came to land. The Gam Mashalimu Sham Komam Lahigitu Ma'ayin Hema, and even from what they were hitting from, they didn't even tell us what their place was. They didn't tell us where they're coming from. So that's proof that they were. That's another proof that they were spies because they weren't identify where they were coming from. And she's going to ultimately say, and I'll just give you the heads up for this one, that's why they had to run. And what she's going to do is after they leave, she's going to then hide them properly because in case they come back, they'll say we didn't find them. We'll come back. So and she hides them better. That's when she hides them under the Pishta 8. Okay, stop there, and we'll go to history.